Good morning, everyone. This is Lynn Sugiyama speaking on behalf of the Arizona Buddhist Temple. I want to thank you for your continued support and for always watching us on the YouTube channel and on Facebook. Today, we are here to commemorate our loved ones for this month of May. This is our May Shotsuki Hoyo. I would like to begin this service by reading the names we have for this month. This is in loving memory of Akiharu Arao, Frederick Carpenter, Miya Fuji, Robert Ishimatsu, Jason Kamada, Sam Kanemura, Chieko Kimura, Kikutaro Kishiyama, Kyoe Komatsu, Sumako Kuroiwa, Marilyn Lawrence, George Matsuda, Katsumi Charlie Matsumoto, Harold Minato, Kei Minato, Warren Mizokami, Akiko Mori, Jinbe Mori, Kiyomi Mori, Yoshiyuki Motoyoshi, Kiyoshi Nagai, Kenji Tomioka, Yone Tomooka, Katsu Tsunahara, Jinsuke Yoshikawa, Tamegoro Yoshimaru, and Yasuji Yoshimoto. Everyone, let's pray together in Gassho. Please repeat after me. Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu. Namandaps, Namandaps. If any name has been left off this list, please let the temple know. Please call us at 602-278-0036. Next, let's listen to the Dharma talk given by Reverend Gregory Gibbs, who is our supervising minister from Pasadena. So I want to thank you for listening. Please Yomo Gassho, Namo Amida Butsu. Please have a good day. Thank you.
Good morning. Thank you for joining us for this service, which Alan Goto, Kathy Kumagai, Kyoko Kura Gibbs, and I are preparing for the Arizona Buddhist Temple for your Shotsuki Hoyo, second Sunday of May of 2022. I have not seen most of you in person for about 2 years, more than 2 years. You have seen me in recorded services and Dharma talks, and I have seen some of you on the internet at conferences and meetings, committee meetings that were Zoomed. Here, just starting to rise out of the pandemic, we're learning new concepts that are important to us. Zoomed is a verb we need now. Googled. There was an ad on my Facebook feed the other day that said, "Have you Googled yourself?" Is it polite to ask someone that? These terms, Googled, Zoomed, you got to know this. Operating systems have names, and you probably would do best to keep them straight, you know. Alexa and Siri. There was a cartoon somebody sent me on the internet, and this nicely dressed guy, about in his mid-30s, is sitting in his living room alone, what we used to call a yuppie type of guy, young, upwardly mobile. And he decides to ask his operating system for dating advice. So he says, Siri, why do I have trouble with women? And the answer he gets from his operating system is, I'm Alexa. So, you know, I have never actually used a voice command for a smartphone or a computer, but I do recall that Apple operating systems is Siri and Amazon is Alexa. And indeed, it's a mark of our times that we depend on internet systems. We talk to machines, we talk with each other through machines. Now, our Jodo Shinshu temples here in the United States, I guess there's 59, kind of an awkward number. We had 60 until recently. We went up to 60, and now we're back down to 59. 60 is the most we've ever had in the Nishionganji. But we've got 59 at least temples, and they're starting to have more in-person activities now. We all are. I was at the centennial for the San Fernando Valley Honganji Buddhist Temple, which is not only has had a long history of 100 years, but has a very long name, the San Fernando Valley Honganji Buddhist Temple. And it's the first time I've seen a lot of people face-to-face in a long time. And it was nice, it was nice. It was nice to see those folks. This pandemic, this viral pandemic is still raging, and the variants continue to emerge. But more of us are immunized now. The numbers of us immunized are up. And the political realities are such that things are opening up a bit, whether they should or not. But now that we've gone through this for a couple of years, some meetings will remain Zoomed. We've been, how long? We've been discussing the district ministers meeting once a month. We've been discussing for about 6 months now going live. And as you might imagine, the further you are from the center of LA, the more you're disinclined to meet live. So San Diego, Vista, even Orange County aren't too excited about the idea of meeting live. And the rest of us are all going, come on, we'd like to go to lunch and talk. But we have not yet. We're still Zooming meetings that we indeed could have held live for some months. There are some communities that will almost never meet face-to-face again. There are some committees which literally probably will never meet face-to-face again. Why get some guy from New York and some guy from Denver and me fly out to San Francisco to have a meeting when we can just sit in front of the computer? And I fear that some of these committees will remain Zoomed forever. There may be some other company and we'll lose that term Zoom. We need a competitor. We have a competitor for Siri and Alexa. We need a competitor for Zoom. The pandemic has indeed accentuated the role of technology in our lives, and it has accentuated our awareness of the role of technology in our lives. Last year's Super Bowl, if we watch the Super Bowl, most of us take a bathroom break at some time, and I think all my friends took a bathroom break during my favorite commercial last year, not this year, but last year at the Super Bowl, they had a commercial for Apple operating systems, and so they recreate the scene in Discovery 1, 2001: A Space Odyssey, and they have Keir Dullea sitting there, but he's at a distance and he's got makeup on, so you can't tell that it's 50 years later. But Keir Dullea is sitting there resuming his character Dave from 2001: A Space Odyssey, and he says to Hal, the operating system of Discovery 1, he says, "Hal, open the outside pod door." And Hal responds, as in the movie, he says, "I'm sorry, Dave, I can't do that." And so a moment later, Keir Dullea, playing Dave, says, "Siri, open the outside pod door." And then the next sound you hear is whoosh. So if they'd only had Apple operating systems aboard Discovery 1, that whole dilemma would not have come up. Technology allows me to speak to you today, to speak with you today. And so I can't be too tech resistant. I can't be too resistant to the influence of technology. I am with Alan Goto recording this at the Pasadena Buddhist Temple for the Arizona Buddhist Temple, something we couldn't have done very long ago. We dedicate this service to the friends and family members who we have lost in the month of May, in one year or another. I'm not sure if it was Lynn Sensei or Michael Sensei or Vaughn Sensei, but one of your minister's assistants there in Arizona has read the list of those names of people that we have lost, some very important people. My own Aunt Margaret passed away in May of 2012, 10 years now. She left me a little bit of money, which was good of her. She never married. She lived to be 88 years old. She was predeceased by 6 of her 7 siblings, including my father. And when she passed in 2012, 10 years back, she left one surviving sister, who lived to be 101, actually, Katie, and 6 nephews and nieces. So she just split her estate evenly between the 7 of us. And that was a great help. My Aunt Margaret's passing was 2 years before I lost my job and my family had to relocate. And the inheritance from my Aunt Margaret was an important cushion for that fall. No doubt we have various feelings of loss and indebtedness towards people, friends, and family who have predeceased us. We all owe people in our pasts. We all owe people who have cushioned some of our falls. We have all taken falls in life. Some of you have had harsher challenges than I will ever have. But we could, each of us, have fallen even harder without the people who were there for us. How do we repay those who got us through our hardest times? Some are living and some are passed on. How do we repay those who have helped us to get through our hard times? Other religions and other streams of Buddhist tradition sometimes use prayerfulness or such practices to send positive karma or somehow direct grace to friends and family, living and deceased. Our denominational founder, Shinran Shonin, tells us that he does not do that sort of thing. I always want to listen carefully to Buddhist teachers when they say, I don't, or I won't, or I shan't, but they don't tell you you shouldn't. He's telling us he doesn't do that. That doesn't necessarily mean we shouldn't. And one of the most doctrinally conservative ministers in BCA, when his wife was battling breast cancer, he told me, driving to the hospital in the car, he was praying. Now, I don't know who he was praying to, the Buddha, Amida Buddha? What kind of prayer? But at that moment, he had the urge to do that. So Shinran's not telling you what you have to do, but he's saying, I don't do that. I don't say the Nembutsu and direct it to my parents. Shinran did not utter the Nembutsu and try to direct the positive karmic fruit of that action to his deceased parents. And he is recalled in article number 5 of the Tani Show as explaining why he did that. And he's recalled as saying, Shinran Shonin now, I have never said the name, even once, for the repose of my departed father and mother, for all living things have been my parents and brothers and sisters in the course of countless lives in many states of existence. Upon attaining Buddhahood in the next life, I must liberate all of them, every one of them. We're saying the name, we're saying the Nembutsu, indeed a good act in which a person strove through their own powers, then he might direct the merit thus gained towards saving his father and mother. But this is not the case. If, however, he simply abandons such self-power and quickly attains enlightenment in the Pure Land, he will be able to save all beings with transcendent powers and compassionate means, whatever karmic sufferings they may be sinking into in the 6 realms and the 4 modes of birth. And he will begin with those with whom his life is deeply bound. Chapter 5 of the Tani Show. Shinran here is not saying that he doesn't care what happened to his parents. He is also not saying, oh, it's all in the hands of Amida Buddha, they will take care of it. What Shinran is actually saying about taking care of the well-being of his deceased parents and in their new lives is that making sure that his parents are free and happy in new lives is part of an immense amount of work that he must do. Speaking for myself, when I attain enlightenment in the Buddha's pure realm, I'm not going to leave my mother's well-being up to the Buddha, up to anyone else, up to some third party. Is the Buddha a third party? I'm not leaving it up to anybody. I will take care of it myself. And I will be looking in on my father as well. My father was a lifelong Democrat who, for some reason, liked Gerald Ford. Although he didn't vote for Ford, he was fond of, he is the only president that my father would refer to as the president. Nixon was Nixon, Johnson was Johnson. But he, for some reason, he saw something in Gerald Ford. So on the other side of this life, I will introduce my father to Gerald Ford. Can I do that? Well, I also need to introduce my mother to John Chancellor, who is her favorite newsman. Can I do that? After entering the Buddha's pure realm and attaining the highest wisdom and the deepest discernment, I will do the equivalent of that. This is an important term for us, soku, the equivalent of. Can I literally, in my next life, introduce my father to Gerald Ford? Well, I can see to it that my father has an experience which would be the equivalent of the fulfillment he would have felt in this life had he had the chance to meet Gerald Ford and have a discussion over lunch. I can see to it that he has the equivalent of that, as if. It will be as if this happens for him. In my next life, can I literally introduce my mother to John Chancellor? Can I arrange for them to drink coffee on the Champs-Élysées? No. That's not literally possible. Literally, given its current usage, is becoming one of my least favorite English words. I can, in my next life, give my parents the equivalent, soku, the equivalent of those experiences. It will be as if they had those meetings with those historical figures. What's your soku? What's your equivalent? What would you hope for the equivalent of in the enlightened realm? Whatever you long for, you will attain the equivalent in nirvana. I would love to hear Honda Minako sing the aria Nessun Dorma, accompanied by Emily Remler and Larry Coryell on guitars. Now, Emily Remler died, I think, 32 years ago. Honda Minako died 17 years ago, and Larry Coryell died 5 years ago. I would like to have the equivalent of hearing them play together. The Commodores wrote a song about this kind of thing called Night Shift. But they pictured it all very literally. They pictured Marvin Gaye and all the guys that had already passed jamming together on the night shift. What would this equivalence look like really? I'm not sure. Maybe it would all occur in a brief interchange of lights, just a brief interchange of lights, but that would produce the equivalent of these fulfillments that we need. It would still occur as an equivalent. It will be as if my mom were chatting with John Chancellor, my dad were having lunch with Gerald Ford, and I was listening to that concert. Larry Coryell, Emily Remler, Honda Minako. It will be as if that is happening. The equivalent will occur. And all will be well, and all will be well, and every manner of thing will be well, because we will see to it ourselves. We will see to it personally as Buddhas in the Buddha's realm of light. This is the message I have for you today for your Shotsuki Hoyo service at the Arizona Buddhist Temple. Some other people out there on the internet may take a view of this service as well at a later time. I thank you for viewing this service. I thank Alan for recording it for me, my wife Kyoko for making the flower arrangement, Kathy Kumagai for getting it up onto the internet, and I want to thank all of you for listening. Thank you very much. Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Butsu, Namo Amida 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 Butsu, Namo.